The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. Do comics just want to be small in their heart, kind of in the soul? Sometimes, you want to make things as big as they can be. You want things to go bigger. But the reality is, sometimes people just are who they are, and maybe with comics, they're just small. That may be where we're at. So let's read this mail here. It was kind of asking the same question. It says, "Hello, Perch. How are you? Hope you're well. Doing great. Why not? I was wondering why it seems most companies haven't caught on with the big box store idea and just stayed in comic shops. Not Marvel and DC. I mean, Image and Boom and Alterna, etc. In my mind, at least, these small companies seem to have much looser ties to specialty shops, but still seem to be trapped." They don't have looser ties. If anything, they have stronger ties. Because keep in mind, a lot of the people who work in these shops, for these publishers, the smaller publishers, they grew up in shops. They grew up with the direct market. In many cases, they own shops or they went to shops. So there's that business mentality, and a dramatic amount of people in comics have done very little outside of comics and consulting. They haven't really experienced a lot in terms of running a business or running a kind of B2B2C chain kind of business. That's not what they've done. So in many cases, the smaller companies are more wedded to comic shops rather than the other way around. Now, that doesn't mean they don't try. I mean, Alterna, I think Peter Simeti did something with Barnes and Noble, so there was some comics offered there once upon a time. I don't think they're there anymore. As I recall, I may be completely wrong in this. This is going off of dim, kind of 4-year-old memory. But as I recall, Smetty said he tried it and it wasn't that successful. But again, I may be wrong there. By the way, there's a lot of confirmation bias that starts to come up where, publishers will start a company and then they'll say, there's no way it could work at a big box store. And they don't have experience working in those places. So they then proceed to run their business in such a way that, shocking, it doesn't work. And that's pretty common. It creates what it sets out to do. So anyway, let's get back to the mail. It says, why hasn't anyone at these companies even had the idea of increasing distribution? It's kind of weird. Eric Larson is even arguing the size format when market research would just tell him how obvious it would be. If you want to sell Pepsi in a Coke vending machine, it has to be the same can. You can't just change the machine for you, a lesser product. That's a really great analogy, by the way. I forget the Eric Larson stuff, but I do. Well, I mean, you can't completely forget. You're right. I mean, Larson's there arguing Tankobons will never work. And it's like, oh, okay. I mean, you could say that all you want. It's like the 2,000 readers of my comic. I think his number's around 2,000 to 3,000. It was, about 3,200 several years ago. I think it's dropped since then. Maybe it's gone up. I hope it has. I hope for his sake it's gone up. But let's say it's 3,000. We'll be fair. So if you're saying the 3,000 readers of my comic would never, ever agree to a format change for my comic, I mean, that's nice. It's true. You could lose the 3,000, but you stand to gain the 500,000. That is the readership of the new format. So, I mean, to me, it's all kind of silly. I do like the analogy because, if you're Pepsi, or hell, we'll go, you're RC Cola. Do they even make that anymore? I don't know. Anyway, you're some sub cola brand. And you're like, I want to someday, sell as me. I want to sell. I think my recipe's better. My, caffeine is more addictive. Got a little bit of cocaine in that can. It's whatever it is. I'm going to be the best cola manufacturer in the world. If you immediately went out there and said, I want my own bottle type and can type, as opposed to the mass market version of this product, you'd be insane. No one would give you any money. It is dumb. Now, granted, comic books have been sold in this format for quite a long time. It is tradition. But the market's clearly changed. You can argue with it. You can say, but I like it. You can say, the day they change the size of comic books, the last day I'll ever buy a comic. You can do that all you want. But I'm sorry, the numbers are what they are. And kind of the spooky part is, and this is, this is one of those go look at it with your own eyes kind of format. Tonkabon, that size, that small manga size, that is really popular as well. A lot of the manga graphic novels are in this Tonkabon size. Go to a Barnes and Noble or a Walmart or Target or wherever and grab a YA graphic novel. Whether it's a Dogman or Babysitter Club, just grab one of those in one hand and a One Punch Man Tonkabon in the other. And then I want you to hold those two books up together and guess what you're going to find out? They're the same size. It's the same effing format. And if we talk about Tonkabon, everybody says, oh, manga. Yeah, I understand that's Tonkabon is related to manga, but guess what? The format size is the same thing that all the YA stuff is going on. So, I mean, it is ludicrous to try and fight that format at this point. You're not just fighting manga, you're fighting Dogman and Cat Club and Smile and all the Rated Tuckmeyer stuff and all the Scholastic stuff. You are, and by the way, it wasn't always this way. So I didn't realize this. My daughter pointed this out, that they shrunk the size of some of the YA books she was buying. They made it slightly smaller. I'm like, no, they didn't. No, that'd be crazy. Why would they do that? And then I looked, and the original format size for a lot of the Scholastic stuff was just slightly bigger than manga. Guess what? It's the same size now. Now, some of this in hardcover, but I mean, you look at the softcover stuff, it's identical. Now, what's the lesson there? Well, it's dominant. This is a dominant format. This is the equivalent of Pepsi going, you know what? We're going to just make the can like, an inch smaller and fatter for no apparent reason. We just want to have a big boy size can. That's what we're going to have right now. Like, you would immediately not be offered in any vending machines. And that's what comics feels like. It feels like somebody who's just like, you know what? Screw it. We're just going to make our own thing because comics is just dumb. Anyway, sorry, back to the mail. Why hasn't any small company taken to the idea? It is just not as obvious as it seems. Is it just not as obvious as it seems? Or are they just not willing to do changes in fear of making the comic shops mad? Even guys who seem to know what they are doing, like Kirkman and McFarlane, haven't tried this. Even Bad Idea won't try it. I haven't even seen it tried just for the hell of it. Some people have tried it just for the hell of it. Thanks for the videos. Keep trucking. Keep on trucking. We will miss you when you decide to go. God, hopefully soon. Anyway, we conclude with kind of where we began. The mail goes, here's my theory. I think in a pop psychological sense, comics just want to be niche. Sadly, comics is run by people who were outcast and outside the norm as kids. Not like me. I was cool, captain of the sports team and everything. Thanks for adding that. And they have an insecurity about it being in the mainstream. It's just not possible for them. Not would they want it to be. Not they want it to be. I think a lot of them enjoy being this little club that's there and no one else's. That's almost an entire video in and of itself. But I think I agree with you 100%. If you could take a lot of people in the comic industry, put them on the couch, and have a psychologist go at it, and it explains so much. This is a separate video, but it's so much. So much of comics is geared and steered by people who are, they enjoy it being niche. They enjoy it being small. They don't like, they were the outcasts in high school. And from their standpoint, if they were to become super popular, it'd be an antithesis to who they are. So they enjoy this space. It's why you see a lot of comic creators talking about, I'm punk rock and I like doing it underground. You don't even know what underground is. You just have a perception of what punk rock and underground and all those things are. Because they are super easy. Barely an inconvenience level. God bless you, Ryan George. I'm glad you're doing better, by the way. there are really, really easy steps that can be taken to make this business more popular. If it's more popular, it will sell more. If it sells more, you'll have more job security and more money. All these things are good things. But comics tricks itself. It is an amazing, like, psychological case study of a business that continuously tricks itself to not change, because we'd make the fans angry. Interestingly enough, by the way, this is totally another video, but how fascinating is it that the comic industry that regularly tells you that they need to subvert expectations, that they can't just do what the fans want. Our job is not to be a hamburger salesman. Our job is not to be a hot dog vendor for the comics industry. That's not our job. But oh my God, we can't change the size of the comic. We can't change the size because the fans would be mad. Hang on, I didn't think you gave a shit about the fans. What are you talking about? Like, I still believe in some sick way that if all of you people out there who really despise the mainstream comic industry, if you really, really do want it to change, it's time for you to employ a little reverse psychology. I want you to go out there and be like, God damn it, Marvel, everything gay. Make it all gay all the time. Every comic should be a voices comic. Whatever you do, you have to stay in the direct market. I want definitely more of the direct market. I want America Chavez to be the leader of the Avengers. And that's I demand it. If you don't give it to me, I'm going to be outraged. Try it. Go a little reverse psychology. It's time for Zach to start doing videos about how Gabby Rivera needs to be the editor-in-chief at Marvel. And then maybe you'll see like, oh, we can't give him what he wants. Quick, go back to classic superhero stories. I swear, if a lot of these YouTube channels right now, if Yellow Flash and that Umbrella guy does a big video series about how the Krakoa Age of the X-Men is the absolute best comics the X-Men has ever been, you will get Ann Nocenti and Louise Simonson and Chris Claremont back on those books faster than you can imagine. I don't know. It is what it is. Take the easy route, man. That's what you need to do. Thanks for listening.